Hello, my fellow weirdos. Um, if you, I'm going to say it now because I always forget. If you happen to like the videos I put out, um, give it a like, give me a subscribe. Thank you. Um, you know, I actually don't like to say I told you so when when it has to do with like bad stuff. Um, things that it's like, are you joking me? Could possibly happen. But sorry. When it comes to Trump, I I told you so. A couple years ago, when I was talking about Project 2025, when the creators here first, started picking up, like, excuse me, with Brian Tyler Cohen would start, Jesse Dollamore, and those kind of people, Farron Cousins, David Packard, um, and I knew some of this shit because the first time he ran, I was paying more than a cursory bit of attention to it. That's actually when I started paying like daily attention to politics because something said you need to with this guy. And I wasn't getting myself in front of a camera. That's when I started graphics. I mean, I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even put a color on the background. It was always just a white background. I mean, I taught myself to copy paste. I mean, I taught myself how to do all of that stuff. I mean, with pictures and stuff. I still don't know a lot of stuff, but it's just on a free, like, photos paint program kind of thing. But and I would venture into things, and that was like long before I lost my son. And I had gotten little tastes of things. This was before, like, oh, conspiracy theory shit was, and fake news and everything else existed, or when he was just starting to stick his face into politics, like actually as a politician. And the only reason he even understood some things on how other governments work is because the first time around is because, well, he was already, since 85, getting his nose, getting himself into a Russian asset situation, because he was he'd be coming into a lot of money. He's a first, generation Nepo baby. His kids are second generation. Their kids are already third generation Nepo babies. And all of it gotten from Donald being in cheating and shit and getting into the presidency, acting like the politics are the same as business. And you can say, oh, he had a lot of money, he was a millionaire before he got it. No, he was not. He had a lot of lawsuits. He only talked them and outweighted them. People couldn't afford, but he was borrowing Peter to pay Paul, and then borrowing from Sam to pay Peter, and I mean, it was ridiculous. However, that wasn't work. But actually, he started making money hand over fist because he had that power the first time as the president. So now they're like, oh, we know this guy is a slick, and that's not said in a nice way, businessman, but like he's got the power now. He knew Jeffrey. It had a lot of money laundering. Ooh. But when I told you, I was saying he is a pedophile long before the ones that could get sued, like, long before mainstream media or anybody else was feeling safe in saying that. I told you he was, because of what I had already read in 2016 and 17 and 18. And he was still friends with Epstein. So some of that part hadn't come out, but comments and the way he treated Ivanka as soon as she was old enough to look more like a little lady than a little girl. And to be honest with you, I think the little girl beauty pageants, I think I do think there's pedophilia behind it. Because anybody who would even come up with the idea of making very, very little girls into looking like they're older. And so when those things started, girls started wearing their makeup and they were like 11 or 12 or 13 and they'd sneak it behind mom's back, little lipstick, or, before when I was a kid, you'd have to wait till 14 or 15 for sure to even just shave your effing legs, and it didn't matter if you had excessively dark hair or something. You know what I mean? And that was a different age. Yes, I get it. But I think when men started sexualizing little girls by doing the pageant thing and making it a thing, like it's a little babe, like it's a miniature adult beauty pageant. Don't tell me that if that's what they're modeled on, which they are, don't tell me adult beauty pageants aren't a sexual component in it that started it, so that it would be acceptable. I'm sorry, but that's true. Because who the fuck on their own, and you think, well, yeah, but look at all these moms, toddlers, and tiaras and stuff. That even sounds wrong, toddlers and tiaras together. Except for play dress up with mom's shoes that are too big, not the way they do it. Because anybody who thinks that would be all cool and fun has got to have a tendency to want to see little girls specifically, because you don't see them doing that to little boys, do you? You don't see them have, or even men having handsome contests.
Donald Trump is now ordering.
Shut up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't see that. And don't say, oh, they have bodybuilding, because so do women. Do they have any male beauty pageants like modeled after women's? No. Do they have any little boy ones? No. Do they have little girl ones? Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Red flag. So I've always had to stay for that. And you go, oh, Judy, what about the moms? They're about pedophiles too. No, the moms get caught up in it because those are stage mom type of things. They're like vicariously living out what they couldn't do. Either their mom wouldn't let them, or they didn't have them, or she always wanted to, or something as a little girl, or she didn't do well, whatever. The moms are living vicariously. You can see it when they're like, I mean, I thought beauty pageants were supposed to be for fun and learning social and being exposed to things. Then why is mom coaching her from the audience? It's that important to win. So anybody who enters or has been in beauty contest, do not tell me it's, oh, for the scholarships, oh, it's for that. Please stop. Stop. It's sexualizing you. If you accept that and you go for it and, just so you get the scholarship or whatever, fine. But don't enter acting like it's something to empower women by, because it's not. Otherwise, they would have done away with the bathing suit shit. And they certainly wouldn't be dressing little girls to look like little tiny adults. Gee, I wonder why pedophilia is so popular. Guys, what the fuck is wrong with you in America? I mean, are you all intermating because that gene of pedophilia is just so fucking strong? What the fuck is happening? And you wonder why there's so much pedophilia. And then you wonder why people grow up and they're so enraged. Maybe they've been assaulted in church, and maybe they've been assaulted at some events. What the fuck is going on? Do I wonder why? And Republicans don't want to ever get guns under control. What I don't understand, these people, these organizations, these lobbyists, these NRA, all these different things, the beef, the fossil fuel, all these different things. They spend millions of motherfucking dollars donating, just follow me, donating to politicians that promise that if they give enough money and they help get them elected, they'll vote for what they want. Why don't they just take that money, and instead of bribing somebody to, you better vote the way I want, just take that money and you put it into, like, paying taxes that you're supposed to be, and maybe you'll get shit happening the fair way. Oh, you couldn't do it if everything was above board and nobody could donate to campaigns? Ooh. Then you must be wanting to try to rig something, huh? If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, acts like a duck, what the fuck? It's a duck. Unless you're in Australia, and it may be a platypus, but it's probably a duck. Sorry. Trying to convince people to vote a certain way, if you have to do that, then that means most people don't want to vote that way unless you bribe them, and that means your way is probably not best for the majority, huh? Bummer. Maybe you want to go, we just gave them 40 billion, so like maybe you want to go to Argentina, just move there. Or you little richies. Yeah, just go over there, because we just gave them a bunch of money. Yeah, so just, I told you so. I fucking told you so, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. I'll say it, I told you so. I'll make a graphic. I told you so. And I really hate saying that in situations like this, when it's a, little disagreement or something. I was like, I told you so. We find out who was correct. This is a whole different thing, because these are people's lives involved, and this country involved. And unfortunately, this country is, I don't even want to say falling into ruination. It's like bolting into it's like just flying there, and the house is shut down. The government's still open. Long enough to swear her in, she signs the release. Take another vacation. I told you for years not just about 2025, that he was a pedophile. Because when I was doing that 1985 Danila Kresnov searching around, when I came across that, and they're throwing around words like Russian asset, but I was then. And they're throwing words around like with people like Erica Kirk. Interesting. She has 3 K's in her name. All pretty close together too. But the word honeypot's been thrown around a lot. And the fact that VP Eyeliner is married to a... Usha, girl. You brown. MAGA ain't gonna accept you. Oh, that's right. Honeypotted for Charlie. And now honeypotted... Okay. Get rid of that pesky little brown wife. Yeah, and the whole thing with Erica, how she first met, she apparently applied for a job he was advertising, and her interview, they just clicked. She just mentioned everything he liked and things that it just was perfect. And that interview turned into a 3-hour interview, and I'm gonna stop because I'm feeling like Don Jr. I'm just not tweaking like him. But yeah, that it turned into a 3-hour interview, and she didn't get the job, but he wanted to start dating her. Gee, for somebody to know so much about the person, to be so in tune with that person just by coincidence, wow, isn't that handy? And within 7 years, they were married and had a few kids, and he was eliminated. You know, she had beauty pageant stuff, international stuff. Yeah. You know, Melania, well, they said it was the modeling circuit in Europe, but just like Hollywood was, you had to sleep your way to the top. Yeah, same thing Epstein was doing, trying to convince these young girls at first that they'll teach them masseuse and they'll pay for it because they show promise, and then they just corrupt and use them. Yeah, same method of operation. So it's interesting how they all intersect with each other. Modeling, Erica, Ivana, Melania. I mean, so fascinating, isn't it? So many coincidences. VP Eyeliner's love of couches, and Erica Kirk wearing tight leather pants as the freshly minted widow. Ooh. Really? Who was it that would do the church lady? Well, how convenient. How convenient indeed.